Hey y'all, it's me Andrea with Sucs For You in Houston, Texas, and I have some work to do. We had a freeze mid-January and I had to pile everything into the garage, and I knew there was going to be some stuff, there was going to be some issues to deal with eventually, and one of them, unfortunately, it's going to be okay, is that my Edithcolea grandis, um, it did get some cold damage, and because I wasn't watering it, there was some stress specifically in this area where it kind of hangs over the edges of the pots. So we're gonna fix that, and we're just gonna we're propagating today. That's what we're doing, is we're propagating Edithcolea grandis, the beautiful Persian carpet flower. All right, we have a little paper bag and a little bin, so I'm just gonna lay the cuttings down here, let them hang out until the cut parts dry. First, we're just gonna move in with some scissors and start making cuts. See, the problem with this plant is in nature, it's a creeper. It grows it grows out of the ground, of course, and then it crawls along the ground. It doesn't hang over the edge of pots, and that just the stress and the contact of the stem trying to support the weight of, you know, these, I've had some really long clumps that just kind of eventually fell off on their own. So unless I can replicate that and get like a root, I don't know how I would do that. I would have to have like a space to where it could grow like a garden bed or something, and we don't have that, so we're just making cuttings and just going in, finding any of the little sad looking spots, and also keeping in mind, eventually when we're out, these are bitey, when we're going to repot them, kind of want to make sure it's not like a weird piece. They're already a weird piece to repot, but so I'm just gonna take some like duplicates. We're gonna do that, and I think I'll try and leave these two together, and I've cut away like what looks like that withered spot, and I'm gonna come over here. So right here you can see it's just sad all the way down. The rest of the other pieces are fine at the base, but this one's just, it's all gonna have to be chopped. And don't worry, I've done this before. I am a professional. And I'll even go in a second and I'll show you. I'm gonna take the extra step of dusting it with sulfur powder and rooting hormone. And I really wanna just keep, I would love to keep this big piece together. I'm gonna try. We'll see what happens. Sometimes these cut-ins down here, this takes a long time to root after, and again, it's February, and it already takes a long time to root during a growing season. And, but I wanted to get this done now because looking at it, I didn't want it to fall. Eventually it was just gonna like fall off. So we want to get ahead of that and go ahead and take our cuttings. Now, what I would do in potting this, guys, I should have gloves. I don't have a clue where they are. So you might not like the way this sounds, but what I would do is we're going to try and get that in, dried up, calloused over, really healthy. We'll put it in soil, dry soil. We pot it somewhat. We bury this part a little bit, and then we just let the rest of it lay down. You can lay it in directly in the soil. You can put top dressing. I think I'll probably put a top dressing. So this is laying in on top of the top dressing, and then this is going to be potted in the soil itself. And a lot of times what these will do is actually put out roots, kind of like Wernie and other stapeliads, is these will put out roots where it's making contact with the soil. And then I'm just going to I'm going to pull out the little sad section right here. I say I am. Let's see how much I can get it out. It might be, no, it's its own plant. So you guys can see. It's gonna get messy. So that's the root system, and that was supporting quite a lot of plant, but those are some pretty good roots. But again, there's a little bit more on here. I'm going to take this little tiny piece off right here. Can you see? Just cut. And then cut here. And say bye to this part. Bye-bye. And this was the section that was kind of struggling in another pot I have. And yeah, there's a naughty little kitten because I made the mistake of putting his food up here so the dog wouldn't eat it. Melvin. We'll just pretend like there's not a cat up here right now. Anyways, this part was hanging over. It was like really, sad and shriveled, so I just went ahead and cut that too so we can treat it all at the same time. All right, Melvin, this is not yours. Come on. You need to get out. Yeah, okay, so, like, I need more distractions, right? Alright, so we have sulfur powder and, oops, this is what I use. I've had this bottle forever, and it's Lily Miller sulfur dust. This shouldn't be more than $8 or $9 at the store, and this is a pound, and again, I've had it for a long time. And then I got some rooting powder, Fertilome, and this also I've had a long time. And this probably doesn't last as long, but I have been keeping it like in my pantry in the kitchen, so it's stored in a cool, dry place. So we'll pop that open. Open up our sulfur powder. And the reason I put that in here is because this comes with like what's like a puffer or a dust thing, and you open this up. And when you squeeze it, I'm not going to do it because I will actually accidentally squeeze it. And you squeeze the bottle and it like puffs out. It's supposed to. It really doesn't work that great. But yeah, so transfer my sulfur powder to a smaller container. I'm going to start taking the cuttings. If you want to be careful about like cross-contamination or whatever, I'm not really concerned with that. Start dipping the cuttings in. Sulfur powder protects against pathogens entering the wound of a plant. It protects against fungus in a lot of plants. I think I need to... that one actually looked like it was ready to dry up. Interesting. Here's a little piece. If you have little tiny pieces like that, I would just lay them on the soil after the cut-in dries, because then it'll start putting down roots and like branching out. Again, it's going to take a long time, but... I'm going to do the sulfur powder, and then I'll go back in around with the rooting hormone. Just dip that in there. And yes, it does smell like sulfur, but it's not terrible. If you like eggs, you won't mind the smell of this. Ouch. Okay. I think I'll leave that together too. It's getting harder to reach, so I'm just gonna tap that down in there. There you go. And of course people, they use cinnamon as well, kind of serving as the same purpose for protecting wounds on plants. But with cinnamon, it's brown, and it's kind of hard to tell what's going on with the plant itself, because you're like, oh, is that rotting? Is that healing okay? But it works fine as far as what I've tried before. But sulfur powder is actually probably a pound of sulfur powder for $7. That's a lot cheaper than cinnamon, but it's just whatever you have handy. And then this last piece. So what I'm seeing on here is that it already started to like dry up so much you can barely even see like a little wound. So I'm not going to cut it. I'm just going to dust it. Alright. Sometimes it's just easier to use your fingers, Alright. Alright, these guys. A couple more little pieces. These guys are just going to hang out over here. Just pretend like I did the rooting powder. I did it the same way. Okay, I just went back in and... Here, I'll do one. Ouch. Let's do this guy. And you don't have to use rooting hormone. It's just, if you have it, it's kind of, maybe makes you think maybe it works, but you don't have to use it. I said maybe it works. Maybe. Oh, alright. There we have it. That's a lot of cuttings. But again, this plant just kind of gets out of control. It's grown really well for me. And I'll show you guys. So yeah, this you can see how long it is. And that's a really big chunk just to be like hanging from a stem or two. And it's hanging over the edge of the pot. So in the summertime when that gets hot, you know, making contact with that pot, it might, you know, cause some issues. And if that happens, then that'll start to shrivel right there, and it'll just get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then that big chunk will drop. So getting ahead of that, I don't want to fool with it right now. I've got enough going on. But I would probably chop it here and then again up here. And this plant, when I got it, was maybe that tall. And it only had like a few little branches, and I have pictures and progress shots. And then it finally flowered for me this summer, and it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. A major goal of mine was to actually have a Edithcolea grandis flower for me. And they're beautiful stipeliads, my favorite. And very popular, not very easy to find, but I think they're starting to get easier to find because they are pretty simple to propagate by cuttings. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching, and check out these flowers. I'll never get tired of looking at them or showing them off, and I hope you have a great end to the winter and spring arrives soon for you. Bye.